Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. And today we are talking about Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. It's not gonna happen. Tommy Fury is he's basically kind of followed the same career path that Jake has followed, and that's fighting bums, but getting a very good record and getting, I think, 5 KOs, but something like that. And Jake has also fought a variety of bums as well. Now, why won't Jake fight Tommy Fury? Plain and simple, because he's a pro boxer, and Jake is more interested in fighting MMA guys and people that he feels comfortable beating. And again, that fight would be high reward, high risk. And Jake's whole strategy is high risk, low risk, high reward, and that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to end up fighting Dillon Danis and then Nate Diaz, all to get to Conor and KSI. So I don't think this fight will happen. I will actually pay money to see this fight. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Tommy Fury is not, let's put it this way. Tommy Fury is not an amazing boxer. You know what I mean? He's not like, Mike Tyson or anything. He's not like a super challenge. Him and Jake have been boxing for about the same amount of time. They both started fighting in 2018. Both have the same amount of experience, pretty much. And Tommy is obviously not like a social media influencer. He's boxing runs in his family. You think this is a pretty good matchup, and it is. I think that this would give Jake the legitimacy that he so craves. And if Jake were to beat Tommy, I would give Jake all of my respect. I would not try and discredit this fight. I would not try and turn the W into, oh, this isn't really true, because all I've wanted to see is Jake fight somebody that's a pro boxer, that has experience, that can actually box. And Tommy can box. He's not like the best, but he can box. Him and Jake, I think, skill-wise, are pretty much at the same level. Tommy's probably a lot better than him in terms of experience and skill. Tommy's also taller than Jake. Jake is 5'11", or closer to 6 foot, so Tommy and Jake are basically the same height. Weight-wise, I think Jake has a bit of an advantage, because I think Tommy does like 170 to 180, and Jake's more like 190 to 200. But they can settle on a catch weight, and Jake will be carrying some more power, but it won't be excessive. I think Tommy wins this fight. I've seen him fighting, and again, we don't really know how he does against a really good opponent, because his opponents have had terrible records. So against Jake, I think Jake is actually his best opponent. I think KSI should fight Tommy too. I think KSI fighting Tommy, Jake fighting Tommy, it's legitimacy. It's someone that's been doing it for basically the same amount of time, and I would definitely think both of these, Tommy would be a great opponent for both KSI and for Jake, because he carries the Fury name. And so if you beat a Fury, that gives you a ton of legitimacy. And Tommy goes, judging Tommy's fighting real quick, because you already know my assessment on Jake's. Tommy goes for body shots a lot. He seems very powerful. Technically, he's all right. I think that he is better than Jake. I think that his jab is better than Jake, I'd say. But, it's not to say that Jake doesn't have a good jab, but I think it is better than Jake's. So and the thing is we've seen Jake fight guys that don't, I'm sorry for readjusting my hat, I just got a haircut. We've seen Jake fight guys that are bums, that basically really don't know how to box, traditionally. He's fighting people that don't fight traditionally. Ben Askren is a grappler, he's not a boxer, so he's gonna go in having experience in combat, but never fighting an actual legit pro boxer. Because Gib and Nate was an NBA guy, Ben is an MMA guy, Gib was a YouTube guy, and they came in, and we're going to assume that Ben, as well as Nate and Gib, came in with a lot of pressure and kind of just swinging their arms around, and Jake thrives in that environment. So in this fight, Jake will either prove or, will prove or not prove that he can fight somebody that is actually boxing him. Because we've never seen Jake fight somebody that's actually wanted to box him, that's actually boxing him, not fighting him. Someone who's not coming in, with no technique, like Gib or Nate was, or like Nate, didn't have any defense. Like, Tommy's gonna have defense. He's gonna have a jab. He's gonna be boxing him. He's not gonna, Tommy is very aggressive. I definitely do think Jake has I think Jake will be very aggressive with Tommy, and Tommy is by nature very aggressive as well. And I think that if Tommy and Jake were to fight, it would be a very aggressive, rough fight. I think Jake, even if Tommy wins, I think Jake has the power to knock down Tommy Fury. I think that Jake, well, actually, I don't even know that, because I don't know how great Jake's power is, because Nate literally just ran into his punches. But I think that even if Jake loses, as long as he can prove that he can go a hard 5 to 6 rounds against a pro boxer, take big shots, throw big shots back, it will do favors for him. So even if he wins or loses, it's gonna help him and benefit him. Tommy's not gonna get knocked out in 2 rounds. You know what I mean? He's not gonna get dominated by Jake. Maybe if Jake does win, he will dominate, but this isn't gonna be a one-sided bloodbath like all of other Jake's fights. And if he can prove he has heart, grit, determination, and he can stand his own against a pro boxer, and he will either prove that yes, I can box someone traditionally, or he'll prove that, hey, he can't do that, and he can only really fight people that don't know how to fight. I think it's a mix of both. I don't think Jake would get knocked out in 1 round. This fight, I see going at least a solid 3 to 5 rounds. It's not going to be a quick, like, one-and-done fight. Like, I think that it will be a good fight. I think it would be a really good fight. It would prove a lot to Jake, and I think it would be a fight I'd actually be invested in. And, Jake being a pro boxer, it's a huge up. It's a huge up in experience. And it would give him that legitimacy that he so-called craves, and I would finally be able to give Jake the W. And this is more just a clear sign that KSI needs to get back in the gym, he needs to start training, and he needs to start fighting people as soon as possible and get to Jake ASAP, because, Jake's only going to get better and better and better and fight harder and harder opponents, and this is an actual good opponent. It's not like this is Jake's hardest opponent, but I would say this is Jake's actual real challenge. And I definitely do think this is his best opponent yet, physicality-wise. He'd be proving a lot with this fight. And I just know deep down my head that I know Tommy wouldn't fight like a scrub. And even if Jake beat him and people were still saying, like, oh, well, you fought somebody that had a terrible record who fought scrubs, it's like, that is true. But as long as Tommy showed technique and ability and, unlike Deji, who was taking shots, or Gib and Nate and Ben, who are just going to have no technique and aren't really trained to be boxers, as long as it goes like a hard 5 rounds and Tommy shows a lot and puts his all into it, and Jake does as well, and Jake still ends up winning, then you can't really say anything. Anyways, guys, that is the video. Like, sub, and comment, and I will see you sometime. Peace.